Infrastructure Act of 2018. This important bill authorizes water infrastructure projects that benefit almost every state in the country. I want to thank every member of Congress who helped pass this crucial legislation. I especially want to thank Senators John Boozman, John Barrasso, Ben Cardin, Tom Harper. See, we have bipartisan on this one, folks. Don't be shocked. We'll probably have a lot more over the years. And Representatives Jeff Denham, Garrett Graves, Greg Harper, and Greg Walden. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
fellas. Appreciate
Thank
it. Thanks also to Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works, R.D. James, for joining us, and to the Commanding General of the Army Corps of Engineers, Todd Semonite. Thank you very much, fellas. Appreciate it. Good job. As a candidate, I called for a great rebuilding of America's crumbling infrastructure. Today, we're taking another major step toward that goal. Very important. This bill authorizes needed funding and tools to enhance our coastal ports, reduce flood risks, restore ecosystems, upkeep our inland waterways, which are in deep, deep trouble, but they won't be for very long, upgrade our dams, hydropower, and irrigation systems, and improve drinking water treatment, storage, and delivery. With this legislation, we will also better protect American communities from hurricanes and storms. And I'm particularly proud that this legislation extends a requirement that protects and projects supported by the drinking water, state revolving fund use, construction materials, all made in the USA, which is a good thing. I love to hear that. We all love to hear that. Under this administration, we're living by two simple but very important rules: buy American and hire American. After years of rebuilding other nations, we are finally rebuilding our nation. And as far as infrastructure goes, I have a feeling that the two gentlemen on my left, two great senators, they happen to be Democrats, we're going to be doing a lot of infrastructure together. I really feel that you want it and we want it. We feel very strongly about it. I think we're going to do a lot of infrastructure. This is a beginning, okay? And I know how badly you want it on your side too. So with that, again, I'd like to thank you all, and maybe I'll ask a few of you to say a few words. Would you like to say, John?
Well, yes, thank you very much, Mr. President, for your leadership on this. You called for this in the State of the Union. We have delivered in a big bipartisan way. The House and the Senate working together for infrastructure. This is a significant piece of legislation. This is good for our communities, it's good for the country, it's good for the economy, as well as good for the environment. So thanks for your leadership, Mr. President.
Well,
thank you.
Appreciate
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Please. Come on.
Bill, thank you so much. This is not glamorous, but it really is one of the underpinnings of our economy. 40% of the agriculture products in Arkansas are exported. Most of that goes to the inland waterways and then throughout our ports and harbors. So as the President mentioned, again, this is a very bipartisan effort and something that we can all be very, very proud of.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Senator, please.
I'm Tom Carper, and I approve of this message. I don't care if I just add very quickly.
Please.
I'm from a little state, Mr. President, Delaware. And for us and for Delmarva, where Ben and I are from, we have great concerns with the quality of our drinking water, and this legislation goes a long ways toward a partnership, furthering a partnership between the state and the federal government to provide more clean drinking water for people to drink. Also, we have beaches and all up and down the East Coast. We have beaches that were concerned the West Coast. We want to make sure that they continue to be there. They can be part of our economy, part of our tourism industry. And the last thing, we want to make sure that our ports are getting the kind of attention that they deserve, and they have the support from the Army Corps of Engineers. This fellow right here, Mr. President, R.D. James, the Assistant Secretary for the Army, has been a terrific partner, as the General, in helping to craft this legislation. People say to me all the time back home, they say, why don't you guys work together? Why don't you work together to get something done? Well, we have, and it's good stuff. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Senator.
Well, Mr. President, first, let me thank the leadership of our committee. The Environmental Public Works Committee worked in a very bipartisan manner to produce an extremely important bill. For the people of Maryland, this means jobs. It means cleaner water. It's good for the Chesapeake Bay. It's good for our economy, and I'm proud of our accomplishments.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Please, Greg.
Well, Mr. President, thank you for your support of this, and to my colleagues as well at the Energy and Commerce Committee. We did a lot of work bipartisan way to reauthorize the Safe Drinking Water Act. First time in 20 years that's been done. This is the partnership we're all speaking about to clean up our water, so when a mom pours a glass of water for a kid, you know it's going to be safe. You also have disaster relief in here for my Klamath Basin farmers that have been through an enormous drought. We deeply appreciate that. And there's hydropower streamlining for licensing so we can get clean, carbon efficient, carbon neutral hydropower in existing facilities in an expedited way.
Well, and unrelated, I want to thank you, Greg, for all of the work, and I think every one of you, all of the work that you did on Right to Try. That's a very powerful thing that we signed. We're getting, I have received more thank yous for Right to Try. You all know what it is. It's a phenomenal thing, and Greg, you really headed it up. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This certainly goes right along with the executive order that you signed on Friday, helping us to bring more water to California. The new Water Act, which is a part of this legislation, will actually have the upfront financing so we can start building Shasta and Temperance Flat and sites, some of these big reservoirs that have been on the drawing board for decades now. We can finally get them done under this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great job, and we will get that done in California. What's going to happen? We're just about set from a federal level. The state has to get moving, and you'll get them moving. I know you will. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Greg Harper from Mississippi. I just want to thank you for your continued support. This has been an emphasis of what you have been standing for our infrastructure, and the safe drinking water is critical across the country. So this is a great step. We thank you for your support.
Well, thank you very much. And I just noticed a major celebrity is in the room, Pastor Andrew Brunson, standing next to our great Vice President. And Andrew, just come here. Stay in the country for a while, Andrew. Stay here for a little while. Great. We really appreciate everything. You've been through a lot, and we appreciate it, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all you did for us. We're very grateful.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Appreciate it very much. Would you like to say something?
Yes, I would, sir. I'd like to thank you and these fine gentlemen of the Congress for passing a bill that I can now use along with General Semonite to get the good work of this country done. We have to balance water supply, recreation, flood control, navigation, hydropower, along with many other items, sometimes out of the same reservoir. With this legislation, we're more apt to be able to do that than we were before you sign it, sir.
Thank you very much. Great job. And I'm going to see you later because we're talking about something on the border. We're looking at something on the border to give us a hand. And if you guys can't do it, then nobody can, right?
Yes, sir.
Please, would you like to say something?
Sir, I think this is a great example of where the entire federal government has really stepped up here to be able to help take care of the people in the infrastructure. It's everybody working together. It's requirements that come from the bottom up, but it's unbelievable support from the administration and from Congress. And this is where almost 99% everybody bought into this particular bill. And it's what we need to do as the Corps of Engineers is to be able to have that support. So now we go down there and to turn dirt, we're able to be able to put some products in the ground and be able to make America an awful lot stronger.
Thank you very much. With that voice, he should be a politician. Say, whoa, that's pretty good. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you. Garrett Grace from South Louisiana.
Yes.
I was here 2 weeks ago when you signed disaster reform legislation into law, and it was major reform for how we prepare for and respond to disasters. This is a really important component because this is how we actually prepare for and make our communities resilient. There's a $100 billion backlog in Corps of Engineer projects. You're a builder, and you know that you don't get stuck in the studying and the do loop. This begins to cut the red tape, cut the bureaucracy, and allowing us, as the General said, to turn dirt, to make sure our ports are competitive, our ecosystems are restored, and our communities are safe. So thank you.
You're right, and the Army Corps of Engineers, frankly, I say previous to Trump, the Army Corps of Engineers was a wonderful people, but it was a tremendous holdup in terms of the bureaucracy we had to go through, and I know we've made tremendous strides in that. Sometimes we go through EPA much faster than the Army Corps, and the Army Corps never wanted that, but they built up artificial roadblocks that just weren't letting the things get done that we had to have done, and we have gotten rid of many of them. We're getting rid of all of them, and EPA is moving very fast, and the Army Corps is starting to move very quickly also, and I very much appreciate that. And we've got some incredible projects to go, so I very much appreciate that.
We're all in, sir.
Good, thank you very much. Mike Pence, would you say something, Mike?
Just a word, Mr. President, of gratitude. to members of both political parties for putting a bill on your desk that is going to strengthen the economy of this country and the water quality of this country. And I know your passion for infrastructure, your desire that in the next Congress we would focus on rebuilding America's infrastructure, and today is really a down payment on that, and we're very grateful for the bipartisan efforts to bring us to this point.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much. Okay, this is a good one. The vote was 98 or 99?
99 to 1 in the Senate.
99 to 1. I would say that's bipartisan. I won't tell you who the one was, but, but that is very bipartisan. So, hey, let me give you guys, we don't do this much. Come here. Fantastic. Thank you, fellas, very much. We'll do a lot of it. We'll do a lot. I think we're going to do a lot more as time goes by. Okay. This is so thick I won't bother holding it up. You've seen me hold it up before. I think maybe what I should do, unless somebody disagrees, I think I'll give this pen to Pastor Brunson. That's great. Right? Where's Pastor Brunson? Please. Pastor, on behalf of all of us and for all you've been through, it's actually a very important pen because it's a very important water bill. And you know where water comes from ultimately, right?
Well, God has blessed us with many natural resources as a country, and we need to be grateful to Him. And as long as we're seeking Him, He will continue to provide for us.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And what we'll do is we'll hand out some, okay? Fellas? Thank you. Thanks very much. Let me do that. You know, in the old days, the presidents would sign one letter at a time. That's right. And it looked terrible. When you looked at the signature, it really did look terrible. You have it all set? Yeah. Come on, Greg. Okay, fellas. Give this to Chuck Schumer. Okay, we're very proud of this bill. A lot of work was in when this has been going on for a long time. And I think particularly 99 to 1 is something that's very special, especially in this day and age. I think we're going to have a lot more of it, especially maybe with infrastructure, but other things also. So thank you all for being here. I very much appreciate it.
Mr. President, are you going to meet with Vladimir Putin in Paris in a couple of weeks?
We may. It's being discussed right now. Mike Bolton, as you know, is in Russia, talking about various things, including the whole nuclear situation, where we were not treated well for many years. This should have been done a long time ago. And I think something good could come out of that. And I very well meet with, I think we probably will. It hasn't been set up yet, but it probably will be.
What would be the most important thing to discuss? Could you settle some of the confusion over your comments about what you mean when you say you're a nationalist? What does that mean?
I love our country. And our country has taken second fiddle. If you look at the trade deals, and nobody knows it better than me, I'm knocking out some of the worst deals I've ever seen, where we're giving all of our wealth, all of our money to other countries, and then they don't treat us properly, where we're protecting other rich countries, very, very rich countries, including, by the way, a country that happens to be very much in the news, Saudi Arabia, immensely wealthy, and we're taking care of their military for a fraction of the cost. Not fair to us. Other countries also, immensely wealthy countries, and we have to get reimbursed for that. We should not be the world's police keeper and not get reimbursed. And by the way, when I bring up to the heads of countries like Japan, Prime Minister Abe, a friend of mine, I bring it up, he looks at me, and he goes, I understand. They understand it. Nobody's ever asked him. I said, have you ever asked? I said, have you ever been asked, like, you have to be, like, help out? Nobody's ever asked. So that's a pretty unfair thing. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you. Wait. I'm going to get back to you.
If I may
It's
ask,
nice and
could I ask my follow-up question?
No, not now. I'll get back to you, I said.
All right.
I can't take the whole thing. You have a lot of other very fine...
Well, no, I understand, but...
Go ahead, yes.
Mr.
No, I'm behind you, please.
Mr. President, have you heard back, or first of all, can you tell us what you think about what the Turkish president said today? And also, have you heard back?
What President Erdogan said?
Yes, sir. And
well, he was pretty rough on Saudi Arabia, I would say, and I haven't gotten a full recap. As you know, I have people in Turkey and I have people in Saudi Arabia and other places, and they're all coming back as we speak. They're heading back. I'll know, I think, everything in a very short period of time. It's a bad situation. But certainly President Erdogan was not complimentary of what happened. That was a terrible thing that happened. Okay? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, do you believe him when he says he believes the Saudi Arabian leadership?
I want to see the facts first. Look, Saudi Arabia's been a really great ally. They've been one of the biggest investors, maybe the biggest investor in our country. They are doing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investments and, so many jobs, thousands and thousands of jobs. And if you look at the other side, Iran, you look at what they've done to people, vicious, horrible. And that's no excuse for what happened with Saudi Arabia, no excuse whatsoever. But you take a look, it's a rough part of the world. It's a nasty place, it's a nasty part of the world. But if what happened, and if the facts check out, it's something that's very bad. At the same time, they have been a very good ally of ours. They've been helping us a lot with respect to Israel. They've been funding a lot of things. I will tell you that Russia and China would love to have that military order. I mean, I can say it to my Democrat friends too. I mean, they would love, this is $110 billion worth of military. And Russia would pick that up very quickly, and China would pick it up very quickly, and France would pick it up very quickly. France makes a lot of military equipment. It's a very competitive market. I did a great job when I sold them. That's why I went to Saudi Arabia first. I went to Saudi Arabia on the basis that they would buy hundreds of billions, many billions of dollars worth of things. And the ultimate number is around $450 billion, 110 for military, 450 billion. I think that's over 1 million jobs, 1 million to over 1 million jobs. So we do that, we're just hurting ourselves. We're just hurting ourselves. And I know that from a certain standpoint, you could also say, well, it doesn't matter, because it is a terrible thing. But we would be really hurting ourselves, would be hurting our companies, would be hurting our jobs. And so we'll see what happens. But I should have a pretty good report, a couple of seconds. I should have a pretty good report very soon. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. President, just to follow up on your comments about being a nationalist, there is a concern that you are sending coded language or a dog whistle to some Americans out there that what you really mean is that you're a white nationalist.
I've never even heard that. I cannot imagine that. You mean, I say,
heard that
I'm a
expression?
nationalist. No, I never heard that theory about being a nationalist. I've heard them all. But I'm somebody that loves our country. When I say a nationalist, I don't like it when Germany's paying 1% of GDP for NATO, and we're paying 4.3%. I don't like that. That's not fair. I don't like it when, as an example, we're protecting Europe, and we're paying for almost the entire cost of NATO. We're paying for a very, very substantial portion, far greater than what it should be. We have great respect for those countries, but on top of that, I don't like it when they put up barriers to our farmers, where our farmers cannot sell into Europe. They have trade barriers that make it, you guys know it better than anybody. They have trade barriers that are as severe as China's trade barriers, which will be coming down. They want to make a deal very badly. They'll be coming down. But I am very proud of our country. We cannot continue to allow what's happened to our country to continue to happen. We can't let it happen. So I'm proud of our country. And I am a nationalist. It's a word that hasn't been used too much. Some people use it, but I'm very proud. I think it should be brought back. I'm somebody that wants to help other countries of the world, but I also have to take care, we have to take care of our country. We cannot continue to allow ourselves to be duped on military and also duped on trade. With the European Union, as an example, last year on trade, we lost $151 billion. On top of that, we lost hundreds of billions of dollars on protection. So we protect and we get killed. We do the trading and they get killed. Can't do it. I want it to be fair. So I want them to open their borders. I want them to make it fair for our farmers, our companies, our medical companies. They sell medical equipment. They just put restrictions on a year and a half ago where the medical equipment can't get into Europe, even though it's better than what they have. So they have to treat us well. All I want our country is to be treated well, to be treated with respect. For many years, other countries that are allies of ours so-called allies. They have not treated our country fairly. So in that sense, I am absolutely a nationalist, and I'm proud of it. Yes,
Mr.
Jeff?
President, you said this weekend and yesterday that you were planning a tax.
We'll do a resolution.
Project. Can you explain what you mean by a resolution?
Well,
And can you
very
tell
simple,
us
very
just
simple.
broadly how
Yeah.
this is going to
Very
work? How it's
simple.
going to work?
If you speak to Kevin Brady and a group of people, we're putting in a tax reduction of 10%, which I think will be a net neutral because we're doing other things, which I don't have to explain now, but it'll be pretty much of a net neutral, but it'll be great for the middle class. It's going to be a tax reduction of 10% for the middle class. Business will not enter into it. And this will be on top of the tax reduction that the middle class has already gotten. And we're putting in a resolution probably this week. I think you folks know about it, and Kevin Brady's been working on it very hard, really for a couple of months. We'll put that in, and we'll start the work after sometime after the midterms.
Mr. President, why the decision now to send 2 U.S. Navy warships through the Taiwan Strait?
I'll leave that decision to myself and my generals and my admirals, okay? Not to you.
Are you worried about any negative reaction from China?
I'm not worried about anything. I don't worry about things.
Mr. President, on the tax cut proposal, when you say that you want a middle-class tax cut, is that an acknowledgement that the original GOP tax cut was too heavily tilted in favor of wealthier Americans and corporations?
No, it really wasn't.
Why bring it out now?
It's been great. I mean, the tax cut that we had, even if you look at estate taxes and what it's done for the small farmers and for small businesses, if you look at the past, I'm talking about the one that was passed, we're very proud of it. And what it did more than anything else, it brought jobs, tremendous numbers of jobs. That's why our job numbers, you hear it all the time when I speak. I mean, we have the best numbers, literally, we've ever had. African American unemployment, lowest ever. Asian American, Hispanic American, no matter what category you look at. Women, 65 years, lowest in 65 years. A lot of that was done by regulation cutting, and a lot of it was done by the tax plan. And that all inures, obviously, to the middle class. In addition, they paid less. I mean, they walk away with $2,000, $1,000, $4,000, a lot of money. This is in addition to that. But on this one, we're not going to do any business because we think the business is really very incentivized. On this one, we're doing a pure 10% tax cut for the middle class, in addition to what they've already gotten in the first cut.
Shouldn't the middle class have gotten a bigger tax cut to begin with?
Well, I didn't think we could get any more than we got. I mean, we got the max. And now, because of the fact that the economy is doing so well, we feel that we can give up some more. I couldn't have gotten that extra 10% when we originally passed the plan. We maxed out. Now, and we had to take care of jobs. Jobs are very important. We gave the middle class a lot, but we couldn't have. Now, as you've obviously seen, business has done so well. We've brought in many hundreds of millions of dollars from offshore because of the tax plan. And that all went to creating Apple as an example. I was with them. They're going to be spending $350 billion on building new facilities in the United States, which is something, as you know, from a long time ago. I've been saying it from the beginning. I want Apple to build their plants here. They're going to spend $350 billion. They're bringing in $230 billion offshore because of our tax plan. Now that helps everybody. That's good for everybody. But this is in addition to the very substantial tax cuts that the middle class has already gotten. So this will be a 10%. It's going to be a resolution probably introduced this week, the end of the week, or early next week. And Kevin Brady has been drawing it up actually for a while. We've been working on it very hard for a pretty long period of time. Okay? Yes, Jeff, go ahead. Finish it.
With somebody else, sir.
Go ahead. Yes.
Mr. President, you said yesterday that you expected a briefing from investigators today on the Saudi case. Is that still the case? Or?
Well, they're heading back. A couple of them are heading back. Gina, as an example, went to Turkey.
Have you heard anything preliminary?
I've heard, but I'd rather talk about it when everybody's back here.
Okay, so tomorrow you expect that?
I think they'll be back tonight and tomorrow, early tomorrow. Almost all of them.
Ahead of your meetings in Paris with President Putin and some other European leaders, have you spoken to any of them about the Saudi issue?
Yes, we have, and Mike Pompeo has, and John Bolton is actually over there now. We've spoken to many of them. They are, nobody likes what happened. Let me put it that way. There's nobody that said, oh, gee, that's wonderful. They were all very angry about it, and they're very upset about it. Nobody more so than me.
What do you think it means for the broader relationship going forward, whether or not this bill, or whether...
Well, it's a good question, and I think what I'm going to be doing is maybe a little bit what I did with respect to the FBI investigations having to do with Justice Kavanaugh when they were asked for more time by the Democrats. I said, look, I'm going to leave it up to the senators that were doing the job. And I think here I'm going to leave it up very much to Congress. Congress has some very strong ideas both ways. I've been told by certain senators we want that investment to keep coming. At the same time, that doesn't mean that they're not going to do something. There has to be some kind of retribution. There has to be, no matter what you do. I've been told by others that they don't want investment of $450 billion. I think that's foolish, but there are some that feel that. But I'm going to leave it very much, in terms of what we ultimately do, I'm going to leave it very much in conjunction with me up to Congress. And that means Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, and one independent. Right? But I want to have the folks in Congress come back and make recommendations to me. And I'd like that to be a bipartisan recommendation. And I think we can get a bipartisan recommendation, I really do. Because I don't think they feel any differently than I do. It's terrible. It's a terrible thing.
Mr. President, why do you think something like this could have happened? Do you think that there was a failure of leadership on the world stage, that Saudi Arabia wasn't concerned about
They had a very bad original concept. It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups. It's very simple. Bad deal, should have never been thought of. Somebody really messed up, and they had the worst cover-up ever. And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it. Because whoever thought of that idea, I think, is in big trouble. And they should be in big trouble. Okay? Yes, anybody else?
Mr. President, one more thing on the caravan. You had said that there were Middle Easterners in the caravan. Can you explain that? Are you saying there are terrorists
Well, there
in
could
that
very well
caravan?
be, yeah. There could very well be. And if you look at...
Do you know for sure?
I have very good information. And if you look at what's happened with Honduras and statements made about Honduras, and even a phone call that our vice president had today, which I think you can maybe reveal. Do you want to mention that, Mike? Is that okay? Probably.
Certainly.
Go ahead, please.
No, at the President's direction, I spoke to President Hernandez of Honduras. He told me that the caravan that's now making its way through Mexico, headed for the southern border, was organized by leftist organizations and financed by Venezuela. We, as we've said...
And the Democrats, maybe? And the Democrats?
Well,
Mr. President, where's the proof of that? Where's the Mr. President, I know it sounds like you're teasing about that, but where's the proof that Democrats are paying for this caravan? Why would they pay for a caravan?
You know what? You're going to find
out.
out, and we're going to see. Well, maybe they made a bad mistake too. We're going to find out about that. What else did they say, Mike, about ISIS? Did they say something?
Well, just that it's been organized by leftist groups. They've made their way north. Once they crossed into Guatemala, now crossed into Mexico. There's some estimates north of 7,000 migrants, so the group is growing. The United States of America intervenes and prevents 10 terrorists or suspected terrorists from coming into our country every day. So it is inconceivable that there would not be individuals from the Middle East as a part of this growing caravan. And what the President's determined to do is to put the safety and security of the American people first. And I know the President will be addressing this in the coming days about ways we need to close the loopholes that human traffickers and other dangerous individuals used to entice vulnerable families to make the long and dangerous trek north.
Mr. Vice President, are you saying that you have evidence that there are terrorists in the caravan right now?
What I can say to you is...
You're saying statistically there's been a number over the years and so on. That's not the same as saying there are terrorists in the caravan. There are a lot of Middle Easterners who live in the United States, Americans of Middle Eastern descent, who find that kind of rhetoric appalling.
Let me just say this.
Isn't that true, Mr. President?
Let me just tell you something. I spoke with Border Patrol this morning, and I spoke to them last evening, and I spoke to them the day before. I speak to them all the time. And they say, and you know this as well as anybody, over the course of the year, over the course of a number of years, they've intercepted many people from the Middle East. They've intercepted ISIS. They've intercepted all sorts of people. They've intercepted good ones and bad ones. They've intercepted wonderful people from the Middle East, and they've intercepted bad ones. They've intercepted wonderful people from South America and from other parts further south. They've intercepted a lot of different people. But among the people they've intercepted very recently are people from the Middle East. Okay? So you can't be surprised when you hear it. You've heard that before. It happens all the time. And I spoke to him literally last night. I spoke to another one this morning. Very good relationship with Border Patrol and ICE. And they say it happens all the time from the Middle East. But it's not even saying bad or good, but some real bad ones. But
no
they
proof,
intercept.
No proof that they're in the caravan now.
They could very well be.
But there's no proof.
There's no proof of anything. There's no proof of anything. But they could very well be. If you look at what that was building, you know, they were talking about 5,000 or 6,000 people. I'm pretty good at estimating crowd size, as you probably have figured out. You tend to get it a little bit off the real number. Last night, as an example, that was record-setting stuff, wasn't it? Huh? But they don't want to talk about that. But I will tell you, let me just tell you, that I believe that
pretty big, sir.
That was pretty big. That was pretty impressive by any standard. And these are great people. And by the way, your vote, we just heard the vote is, and this could be good, bad, or indifferent for Democrats or Republicans, but the amount of voting is at a level that they've never seen before for the midterms. You heard that. I mean, I don't know whether I'm supposed to say that's good or bad, but I will tell you the amount of people voting is at a level, Sarah, that you've never seen at midterms, a record level by.
All right, folks, welcome. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times, and we have footage from inside the venue where President Trump is going to have his rally in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I hope I'm saying that right. I know I always screw these things up, but we're going to be putting it up on your screen in just a few minutes as we get footage from the venue. We want to make sure that everything is correct and that everything is running smoothly, so that way you guys have the best experience. You guys are going to see a screen that says please stand by or live stream starting soon as we get ready for President Trump's rally in Tennessee. Please share the live stream on social media. If you guys share the stream on Twitter or on Facebook, I'll give you guys a quick shout out as a thank you for helping us out. President Trump having two rallies today. He had one earlier in, where was it, Montana? I don't even know anymore. There's so many rallies. We don't even know anymore where they're at now. But yeah, this is the second rally. This one is in Tennessee, and you're going to get live footage in just a few minutes as we get everything ready. We make sure that everything is good. Thank you so much.
It sounds like you're teasing about that, but where's the proof that Democrats are paying for this caravan? Why would they pay for a caravan?
You know what? You're going to find
out.
out, and we're going to see. Well, maybe they made a bad mistake too. We're going to find out about that. What else did they say, Mike, about ISIS? Did they say something?
Well, just that it's been organized by leftist groups. They've made their way north. Once they crossed into Guatemala, now crossed into Mexico. There's some estimates north of 7,000 migrants, so the group is growing. The United States of America intervenes and prevents 10 terrorists or suspected terrorists from coming into our country every day. So it is inconceivable that there would not be individuals from the Middle East as a part of this growing caravan. What the president's determined to do is to put the safety and security of the American people first. And I know the president will be addressing this in the coming days about ways we need to close the loopholes that human traffickers and other dangerous individuals used to entice vulnerable families to make the long and dangerous trek north.
Mr. Vice President, are you saying that you have evidence that there are terrorists in the caravan right now?
What I can say to you is,
you're saying statistically there's been a number over the years and so on. That's not the same as saying there are terrorists in the caravan. There are a lot of Middle Easterners who live in the United States, Americans of Middle Eastern descent, who find that kind of rhetoric appalling.
Let me just say this.
Isn't that true, Mr. President?
Let me just tell you something. I spoke with Border Patrol this morning, and I spoke to him last evening, and I spoke to him the day before. I speak to him all the time. And they say, and you know this as well as anybody, over the course of the year, over the course of a number of years, they've intercepted many people from the Middle East. They've intercepted ISIS. They've intercepted all sorts of people. They've intercepted good ones and bad ones. They've intercepted wonderful people from the Middle East, and they've intercepted bad ones. They've intercepted wonderful people from South America and from other parts further south. They've intercepted a lot of different people, but among the people they've intercepted very recently are people from the Middle East, okay? So you can't be surprised when you hear it. You've heard that before. It happens all the time. And I spoke to him literally last night. I spoke to another one this morning. Very good relationship with Border Patrol and ICE. And they say it happens all the time from the Middle East. But it's not even saying bad or good, but some real bad ones. But they intercept.
No proof that they're in the caravan
well,
now.
They could very well be.
But there's no proof.
There's no proof of anything. There's no proof of anything. But they could very well be. If you look at what that was building, you know, they were talking about 5,000 or 6,000 people. I'm pretty good at estimating crowd size, as you probably have figured out. You tend to get it a little bit off the real number. Last night, as an example, that was record-setting stuff, wasn't it? Huh? But they don't want to talk about that. But I will tell you, let me just tell you, that I believe that that was pretty big. That was pretty impressive by any standard. And these are great people. And by the way, your vote, we just heard the vote is, and this could be good, bad, or indifferent for Democrats or Republicans, but the amount of voting is at a level that they've never seen before for the midterms. You heard that. I mean, I don't know whether I'm supposed to say that's good or bad, but I will tell you the amount of people voting is at a level, Sarah, that you've never seen at midterms, a record level by a lot.
First, we want to
So I think there's a very good chance, honestly, that you have people in there. I also think there's a very good chance that over a course of a period of time you have, or they don't have to necessarily be in that group. But certainly you have people coming up through the southern border from the Middle East and other places that are not appropriate for our country. And I'm not letting them in. They're not coming in, all right? They're not coming in. We're going to do whatever we have to. They're not coming in.
And you don't think you're pouncing on this to try to stoke
not at
fear and cause alarm to drive up your
I'm
base?
a very non-political person, and that's why I got elected president.
Do you share the assessment that the caravan is financed by Venezuela? That you said, Mr. Vice President, that the President of Honduras said that. Do you share that assessment?
President Hernandez, when President Trump asked me to call the President of Honduras when this caravan was initiated, he told me that it had been organized by leftist groups in Honduras that were being financed in part by Venezuela and organized by human traffickers who have no regard for human life, organized by dangerous gang members that are moving people north. When I spoke to President Morales in Guatemala, he informed me that they were already busing people in the caravan back who had been left behind, left by the side of the road, elderly, vulnerable families simply left behind by this caravan. People need to understand the people that are driving this caravan north to challenge our sovereignty, to challenge our borders, are doing so without any regard for human life and doing it to advance some political statement, or in the case of human traffickers, strictly for financial profit. And the President's absolutely determined to use all means at his disposal to organize efforts to have Mexico turn this caravan around and work with Congress to close the loopholes that human traffickers use every day to entice vulnerable families to make this dangerous trip north.
I really think, though, that what this really shows is that we have to change the laws.
Right.
I say this having two very highly respected Democrat senators behind me, but we have to do something that we all agree with. We have to change the laws. We have to make them much different. They're very soft, and it's a different time. It's really a different time. Maybe there was a time where that could have been appropriate, but we have to have immigration laws now that are suitable for this time and that work. And the ones that we have now are old and they don't work. They don't work and they don't come close to working. And we need protection. We have to have a wall. We've been building the wall. We started the wall. San Diego's almost completed the whole area, that whole area of California. But we want to do it quickly. We don't want to take years to do it. But I really believe that, and I think that, I don't say anything's that kind of an asset when you look at what's happening, when you look at heartache on both sides, because it really is, it's heartache on both sides. But when you look at 10,000 people, because I don't believe that was 5,000, I think that was much more than 5,000 people. But when you look at that massive group of people on the bridge, when you saw it on the bridge, the group, I really think that it probably spells out to us and Congress, something has to be done. You can't have this happen. Something has to be done. So in that way, I think maybe it's going to be a good thing. We're going to see. We're going to see. We're counting on our military. We'll have to call up our military if we need to. But we can't let this happen. We cannot allow our country to be violated like this. And it's very unfair. People are waiting online that went through a legal system of immigration, and they've been going through it for many years. And they've worked hard. They've done everything they're supposed to do, and then people just come running across the border. It's really unfair to the millions of people that are waiting online to come in legally into our country. It's very unfair. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Do you see any argument, Mr. President, for trying to improve conditions in those countries by not decreasing aid, but perhaps maintaining or increasing aid?
I've heard that argument before, but it hasn't worked for a long time. Countries. I want to improve the conditions in our country. I want to improve the conditions here. Now, part of that condition and improving the condition is we are doing so well. So many companies are coming in. I spoke with Prime Minister Abiy very recently, and he informed me that we have 5 major car companies coming back. I said, you have to do something. You have to balance it out, because it's like a one-way street. The trade imbalances are so different between, as an example, Japan, just one, Japan and the United States. We have Foxconn coming in. They make the phones for Apple. They do a lot of work for Apple. They do a lot of work for everybody. They're opening up in Wisconsin. But we have a lot of companies coming in. We need, at 3.7, it's the lowest in many years, many decades. We need great people coming in. I want great people to come in. I want them to come in through the merit system. I look at the people that we're talking about. I really watch pretty carefully all of the networks, I have to be honest with you, all of them. And you have even CNN. You did? No, you get some beautiful shots of some very good people. And I really think that some of those people, a lot of those people, I think there's a lot of talent in that group. There's a lot of talent. We need people, because I have companies coming into the United States. They have to be able to get workers. And our great, even conservative people that maybe 3-4 years ago would have felt differently about it, they now feel. We have to get people to operate these big plants and factories that are opening in the United States. I want them to come in. I want them to come in through a merit-based system. And I think a lot of people are going to be happy with that. I want to build our country. I don't want to go to other countries to rebuild. That's what we've done. We've been trying to rebuild the world and police the world. It's now time to rebuild the United States and to properly police the United States. And that's what we're going to do. At the same time, we're going to help.
All right, folks, we apologize for it taking so long, but as you know, this is the second rally, and it's very, very difficult, especially at our size of network, that for us to go back and forth in 2 different areas at the same time. So we apologize for it taking a little bit longer than normal for us to get the footage, but we talked to the people with the cameras, and we should be getting it in the next few minutes. So thank you so much for your continued support. We should be getting the footage in just a few minutes as President Trump makes his stop in Tennessee for his rally. Thank you very much. And you'll see a screen that says live stream starting soon. Don't worry, we're just getting everything ready for you folks, and we'll go on from there. Thank you so much for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. The president campaigning in Tennessee. It should be coming up on your screen in just a few minutes. Thank you.
is without a script. So that is something that his fans love.
All right, folks, please share the live stream on social media. All right, folks, in the chat, let me know what's the name of this former wrestler. Let me know what his name is. I can't remember it. It doesn't come to my head right now. It's definitely not Ric Flair.
Rockets, red glare, the bombs bursting in air. 'Twas the
Well, hello. It is great to be back in the volunteer state. And I'm here for one reason and one reason only. Tennessee and America need Marsha Blackburn in the United States Senate. And it's especially great to be here tonight with a good friend of mine. And a man who loves the state of Tennessee, and the man Tennessee voted overwhelmingly to make the 45th president of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. You know, President Trump and I are proud to stand with Marsha Blackburn because she stood with this president for the past 2 years in Congress. And we know that Marsha will be a champion for Tennessee and our agenda in the United States Senate. You know, when I think back on the last 2 years, there's only one way you can describe the leadership of President Trump. It's been 2 years of action. It's been 2 years of results. It's been 2 years of promises made and promises kept. And we're just getting started, Tennessee. I mean, think about it. Under President Trump's leadership, we're rebuilding our military. We're restoring the arsenal of democracy. And we're finally giving our veterans the world-class, real-time health care that you earned in the uniform of the United States. We're securing our borders, enforcing our laws. We put that caravan on notice, and we've already started to build that wall. It's true. Oh, we're building it. We're building it. We're appointing strong conservatives to our federal courts at every level, set a record in our first 2 years, including the newest member of the Supreme Court of the United States, Justice Brett Kavanaugh. We've rolled back red tape, unleashed American energy as never before, fought for trade deals that are fair and reciprocal. And right before Christmas, with Marsha Blackburn's support, President Trump cut taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, and family farms all across Tennessee. And the results have been nothing short of amazing. I don't know if you heard about it last week, but in the first 2 years, 4.5 million new jobs created, including 100,000 jobs here in the volunteer state. Paychecks are growing at their fastest rate in a decade. The unemployment rate is at a 50-year low, and there are more Tennesseans working today than ever before in the history of this state. You know, under the leadership of President Donald Trump, with the strong support of Marsha Blackburn in the Congress, jobs are back. Confidence is back. In a word, America is back, and we're just getting started, Tennessee. That's why we need Marsha Blackburn in the United States Senate. Marsha Blackburn is the real deal. She's a woman of faith and conviction, a proven conservative leader who stood with our military, cut taxes and regulations, and just like President Trump, Marsha Blackburn will always stand for the right to life. Marsha Blackburn will stand with this president to put Tennessee and America first every day, which is more than you can say about her opponent. A vote for Marsha Blackburn is a vote for a conservative champion in the United States Senate. A vote for Phil Bredesen is one more vote for Democrat obstruction and Chuck Schumer's liberal agenda on Capitol Hill. It's true. Choice in this election is clear, Tennessee. It's a choice between more government and more freedom. It's a choice between tax hikes and more tax cuts. It's a choice between open borders and secure borders. Really, it's a choice between resistance and results, and President Trump and I need Tennessee to vote for more results. We need Tennessee to vote to send Marsha Blackburn to the United States Senate. But it's going to take all of us to do it, folks. Election day is just around the corner, and I keep hearing about this blue wave. But I got to tell you, the President and I know for sure if all of us do all we need to do between now and when the polls close on Election Day here in Tennessee, that blue wave is going to hit a red wall right here in the volunteer state when you elect Marsha Blackburn to the United States Senate. And when you do that, I'll make you a promise. With Marsha Blackburn in the United States Senate, with renewed Republican majorities in the Congress, with Bill Lee in the State House, with President Donald Trump in the White House, and with God's help, we will make Tennessee and America safer and more prosperous than ever before. And together, we will make America great again. And now it's my high honor and distinct privilege to introduce to you my friend, the 45th President of the United States, President Trump.
Tennessee.
All right, folks. So he's singing a copyrighted song. I can't turn it on. I just can't. YouTube will shut me down if I turn on Lee Greenwald as he's actually singing himself. God bless the USA. I can't turn it on. I apologize. If you guys want to get mad at me, that's fine. I don't, there's nothing I can do. But he's definitely singing a copyrighted song, and YouTube will shut us down. They will take away our live streaming. So that's the reason why I would rather pan the crowd and wait until he's done. And then once the president starts speaking, then we'll go on from there. Thank you so much for understanding.
Where do you begin? Where do you begin? Where do you begin? And I didn't know Lee Greenwood would be here. That was a surprise. That was a surprise. Wow. We love that voice and we love that song, don't we? Thank you, Lee. Boy, oh boy, that was great. That was great. And I want to thank our great Vice President, Mike Pence. Fantastic job. I know I speak for everyone here when I say we are all indeed proud to be Americans. Right? And I'm thrilled to say that I love Tennessee. I am thrilled to say. And to be here with the hardworking men and women who are the heart and soul of our country. And that's true. That's true. In just 2 days, the people of Tennessee are going to elect Marsha Blackburn. Marsha. To the U.S. Senate. To protect your jobs, defend your borders, and continue making America great again. This is one of the most important elections of our time. I don't know if I rate it more important than the last election, 16, but it's right there. This is really one of the most important elections that we will ever have the privilege of voting in and for. This is a big one. It'll decide whether we build on the extraordinary prosperity that we've achieved for our nation or whether we let the radical Democrats take control of Congress and take a giant wrecking ball to our economy and to our future. And by the way, did you see those numbers on Friday? Those are big numbers. America now has the hottest economy on earth. No matter who comes in to see me in the Oval Office, when it's a president, when it's a prime minister, a queen, a king, they all start off by saying, it's incredible. what happened to the economy of the United States. It's unbelievable. And they try and duplicate it, but you can't duplicate our people, can you, huh? In the last month alone, we added another 250,000 jobs, and nearly 500,000 Americans rejoined the workforce. We created a total of 4.5 million new jobs since the election. And by the way, the media would have never believed it if I said it on the campaign. They would have never believed it. They would have said he shouldn't be allowed to say that. And we've lifted 4.3 million Americans off of food stamps. And the unemployment rate just fell to the lowest level in over 50 years. 5-0. More Americans are working today than ever before. Think of that. In the history of our country, we have more people working today than ever before. Nearly 157 million Americans now have a job. African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, unemployments, all of them, all of these groups have all reached their lowest level in the history of our country. Think of it. Poverty is plummeting, wages are rising, incomes are soaring, and the confidence level of our businesses and our people is at an all-time high. Other than that, we're not doing so well. Okay. Republicans passed a massive tax cut for working families, and we will soon follow it up with another 10% tax cut for the middle class. We got to win Congress, in all fairness, just because the Democrats won't be doing that. The Democrats are going to be raising your taxes. They're not cutting your taxes. So I have to put a little caveat. We got to win Congress. Got to win the House. I think we're doing great in the House. I think we're doing great in the Senate. But who knows, right? Who knows? You got to get out to vote. But I will say, there is an electricity in the air, the likes of which I and you have not seen since the 2016 election. And you don't hear so much about that big blue wave anymore. They may do fine. They may do fine. Who knows? But you don't hear about the wave. The wave is coming. The wave is coming. I'll tell you, with the statistics I just rattled off, who could do better than that? We're breaking every record practically in the history of our country, right? And very importantly, we're taking care of our great veterans, and we are rebuilding America's and you know this, right? You know what was happening to our military? It was depleted, it was tired, it was exhausted, the planes were old, everything was tired. We are rebuilding America's military might like it's never been rebuilt before. And hopefully, we'll never have to use it. But I can tell you, the stronger we become, the less likely it is that we will have to use it, okay? And we are building it at a level that has never been done before, $700 billion and $716 billion the following year. Under Republican leadership, America is respected again. And America is winning again because we are finally putting America first. And to protect your rights and freedoms, we overcame the Democrat smear campaign and confirmed the newest member of the United States Supreme Court, Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And speaking of Justice Kavanaugh, great man, great intellect, a great scholar, they thought 10 years ago, long before I thought I'd be doing this, I was very happy in Manhattan, having a lot of fun building buildings. I was very happy. But long before, I used to hear the name Brett Kavanaugh as being this great intellect. Washington, he will be on the Supreme Court someday. And when I told him, it's my honor, because we did great with, as you know, Justice Neil Gorsuch, you know that. And when I saw and heard about, we have another vacancy, and I said, wow, what a great time. And I had Brett Kavanaugh, judge at that time, over to the White House. I said, Judge, this is going to be so easy. Congratulations. I'm going to nominate you for the United States Supreme Court. I said, this is going to you are so central casting. Great marks, great schools, the best everything, the best of everything. Your family, your wife, your children, you don't have a problem in the world. You are the greatest. I said, Judge, this is a piece of cake. And you know what? The Democrats, what they did to him. But you heard on Friday what happened. One of his accusers came out and said she never met him. She never met him. That she made up the story. It was a total lie. Rape. It was a total lie. It was a total lie. It was fake. It was a fake. It was a fake story. Totally fake story. False accusations. It was false accusations. She made up the story. It was a lie. And think of this. What would have happened if he didn't make it because of her lie? What would have happened? Think of that. How unfair would that? Can you imagine that could have happened? There was a lot of pressure on him, and there was pressure on me, frankly. These stories were coming out, and now we have to find out about the others with their accusations. Okay? But I'll tell you what. Well, already the other ones are falling down. You look at what's going on there. But this woman came out of nowhere, and because of the pressure, she admitted that it was a total lie. It was a fabricated story. And think of this, if he didn't, supposing he withdrew, or I was forced to do something, which frankly I wouldn't do. It's a disgrace. And the way the Democrats tried to destroy this human being, this great man, who will be a Supreme Court justice at the highest level for hopefully many, many decades. Young man. But the way they tried to destroy him, and they knew what they were doing. They knew. Dianne Feinstein with the lies and the leaks. The leaks. How about the leak? Did you leak it? Remember? Right? You remember? Did you leak it? That was John Cornyn of Texas, did a great job. Just said, did you leak it? Did we leak anything? And the guy shouts back, no! Turn around, no! Turn around! He didn't say turn around. I won't say it because they'll give me a hard time. And then she goes, no, we didn't leak it. Which I consider that to be maybe the worst body language I've ever seen. But anyway, so we have Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court of the United States. Great. The contrast in this election could not be more clear. Democrats produce mobs, Republicans produce jobs. A vote for any Democrat on Tuesday is a vote to hand power to crying Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and of course, the legendary Maxine Waters. And to Maxine's in charge of banking, by the way. That'll be good. China will be thrilled to hear that. And to implement their extreme job-killing agenda, they want to raise your taxes by double and even by triple. I don't think the people in Tennessee want that. They don't want that. Lee Greenwood does not want it. Lee, do you mind if your taxes go up 3 times? He doesn't mind, but his wife is not happy right now. They want to increase regulations. They want to take away your health care. They want to impose socialism on our country. And they want to erase America's borders. Democrats want to invite caravan after caravan of illegal aliens to pour into our country. I don't think so. I don't think so. No nation can allow its borders to be overrun. And that's an invasion. I don't care what they say. I don't care what the fake media says. That's an invasion of our country. Thank you. And you're right. And we started the wall. We have $1.6 billion. And we just got another $1.6 billion. And we're getting yet another 1.6. But we want to build it all at one time. We want to get it done. And it's happening. It's all happening. It's all happening. But we need Republicans, or the Democrats have to start voting for this, because this is the worst immigration laws anywhere in the world. The world laughs at us. The world sees this stuff, catch and release. They come onto our land. Other people say, get out. We say, congratulations, you're going to end up in court for the next 4 years. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? That's why I am telling the caravans, the criminals, the smugglers, the trespassers marching toward our border, turn back now because you are not getting in. Turn back. For years, we only defended the borders of foreign countries. We protect their borders, but we don't protect ours. Now we are defending the borders of our country. So very simply, if you want more caravans and more crime, because crime comes with it, vote for the Democrats. Vote for them. If you want strong borders and safe communities, vote for the Republicans. It's very simple. We are grateful to be joined today by many distinguished Tennessee Republicans. What a great group. They've helped me so much. I want to thank your state's Lieutenant Governor, Randy McNally. Where's Randy? Where's Randy? Thank you. Great. Thank you, Randy. Great job you're doing. And your state GOP chair, Scott Golden. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for doing a great job for me, too, Scott. That was a very good job. Thank you very much. I also want to thank your terrific Republican members of Congress. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? A lot of times, you know, they don't put them in one area, and I'm looking all over these big stadiums. They're always packed because we have something going on, folks. There's something happening. Something is happening. It's going to be an interesting day. We're going to do fine. We're going to do very good. We could do great. We could do great. Congressman Phil Rowe. Phil, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great guy. The man who came to see me speak in Pennsylvania, and he said to me, it's been a long time, Congressman, loves this state. And he said to a couple of friends of mine who are also congressmen, I like congressmen, and women. I like the women better, but that's okay. He came to speak, and you have early voting in Tennessee. And he talked to me backstage. I was getting ready to go on, and near the Philadelphia area, we had this big stadium. It was beautiful, and he came up. He goes, you know, I have to tell you something. I wasn't president, so he goes, Mr. Trump. He goes, I want to just tell you that I don't know what's going on, but I've been a congressman for a long time. And I have people coming in Tennessee, and they've got the Trump hat, and the Trump banners, and the Trump shirts, and the Trump gloves, and shoes, and socks. And these are people that haven't voted in years because they never really liked who they were supposed to be voting for, and now they're pouring in with banners and everything. He said, and those lines, early voting, he said, and those lines are so long, I've never seen anything like it. And he said, those red hats and the white hats and every other hat, he said, I've never seen anything like it. And he was the first one that told me. He said, and all I can say is this, if other states are like the great state of Tennessee, you're going to become president. And his name is Congressman John Duncan. Right? Right, John? He said, I've never seen anything like it. People that aren't even political, they have Trump all over. Good. And you know what I'm happiest about? We're overperforming because everything I said we are doing, who thought the economy would be this good? I wouldn't have been allowed to say it. They wouldn't have allowed it to be said. Who thought we would have, in just a short period, not even 2 years, the greatest economy we've ever had in the history of our country? Another great friend of mine, they're all friends of mine, Congressman Chuck Fleischman. Thank you. Thank you. A man with one of the most beautiful names I've ever heard, Congressman Scott Desjardins. What a name. If I had that name, I would have been president 20 years ago. And Congressman David Kutzoff. David, thank you, David. Great job. Along with the next congressman for Tennessee's 6th District, John Rose. You know John Rose? I hear great things. I hear great things about John Rose. Thanks, John. It's a great group. You really do. You have a great group. And I know they're all winning big and all that stuff. Go vote anyway. We don't want to take any chances, okay? Fellas, you don't mind if I tell them that, right? We don't want to take any chances. They're all good. They're great. But we don't want to take any chance that we get a little bit carried away with ourselves. So go out and vote. I don't want to see any extremely depressed former congressman from Tennessee. Great job. It's a great group of people. I'll tell you what. They love your country. They love this state. Thank you very much, fellas. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. If you don't want to be saying Speaker Nancy Pelosi for the next 2 years, You have to get out and vote for John now because he's the newcomer, and vote for these great Republican lawmakers. When you head to the polls on Tuesday, you will be deciding whether you want to keep this economic boom like we've never had before going strong, and we can do it. Frankly, I'll tell you what, honestly, we haven't even begun. We have such potential. We have such potential. As crazy as it sounds, we have such potential. Or whether you want to let the resistance take it all away, and it can go quickly. Your next senator, Marsha Blackburn, will keep your economy thriving, your wages rising, your jobs soaring, and she will keep your families and communities safe. She loves this state. She will be a tireless champion for Tennessee. Marsha is running against a far-left liberal, and you're finding that out finally, named Phil Bredesen. The hand-picked candidate of Chuck Schumer. Schumer begged Phil to run because he knows that Phil will always do what Schumer says and always, always do what Nancy Pelosi wants him to do. Phil will block pro-Constitution judges. He will cut funding to our military and law enforcement. He will embrace a socialist takeover of health care, and Phil totally supports the Democrats' open border madness. What's that all about? What is that all about? If you want to stop the liberal agenda of high taxes and high crime, you need to vote for Marsha Blackburn. Marsha, please come up. Marsha.
Thank you all so very much for being here and for everything that you're doing to help elect Republicans this cycle. And thank you so much for all you did to send President Donald Trump and Mike to the White House. They are doing... Our president and vice president have had quite a 21 months. And the vice president said a few things about that. And just think, record low unemployment. Wages are growing. You are seeing so much done all across the globe. We're out of the Iran deal. We've defeated ISIS in Syria, North Korea, China being held accountable. And our U.S. Embassy is in Jerusalem, where it belongs. And to keep this working, I think Tennesseans want a U.S. Senator who is going to do exactly what she says she is going to do when she goes to Washington, D.C. Now, let me tell you, if my opponent, Phil Bredesen, had his way, Hillary Clinton, who he gave $33,400 to, would be president, and not any of these things would be happening. So, if you want to have somebody all right, if you want to have somebody who's going to support more constitutional judges and is going to be there to support tax cuts, be there to build the wall. I ask you to stand with me. And if you want to vote no on Hillary Clinton and her cronies one more time, stand with me. Let's win this election on Tuesday. Thank you.
She's going to do a great job. Thank you very much. That was great. Thank you. Thank you, Marsha. If Democrats gain power on Tuesday, they will try to raid your Medicare to fund socialism. You know that. The Democrat health care plan would obliterate Medicare and eliminate Medicare Advantage for more than 500,000 Tennessee seniors. They're not going to be happy. Republicans will protect Medicare for our great seniors who earned it, and by the way, they paid for it. You know that. They paid for it. They paid for it. And Republicans will always protect patients with pre-existing conditions. Please remember that. Democrats' plan to destroy health care also includes giving away your benefits to illegal immigrants. You know that. As we speak, Democrats are openly encouraging millions of illegal aliens to break our laws, violate our borders, and destroy our nation in so many different ways. And they want to sign them up for free welfare, free health care, free education, and most importantly, the right to vote. They want them to vote. Come on in and vote. They love them voting. Illegal immigration costs our country more than $100 billion every single year. That's almost 3 times the entire state budget of the state of Tennessee. Not only do the Democrats' open border policies drain our treasury, but they endanger every American community. And you people know that better than anybody. Nearly 100% of the heroin coming into the United States enters through our southern border, along with roughly 90% of the cocaine, the majority of meth, and a substantial portion of the ultra-lethal fentanyl, which is killing our youth at record numbers. We can't allow this. These drugs kill 70,000 Americans every single year and destroy the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Last year alone, our brave ICE officers arrested more than 127,000 aliens with criminal records. Wow. Think of that. 127,000. Think of that. 127. ICE. They want to fire ICE. They don't like them. They think they're a little bit too rough. They're dealing with tough customers. But listen to this. It's including those charged or convicted of approximately 48,000 assaults, 12,000 sex crimes, and 1,800 murders. We don't want this, folks. We don't want it. But Democrats want to abolish ICE and turn America into a giant sanctuary city for gang members and MS-13 killers. Remember when Nancy Pelosi was upset with the way I was talking about MS-13? Remember that, though? It's like, they're people, too. They're people, too. Oh, really? Republicans believe our country should be a sanctuary for law-abiding Americans, not criminal aliens. And Republicans will always stand with the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol and law enforcement. This election is about safety and it's about prosperity. For years you watched as we let foreign countries plunder and drain our wealth, shutter our factories, and steal our jobs. But those days are over, Tennessee. Those days are over. We've added nearly 500,000 manufacturing jobs since the election. Last month alone, we added another 33,000 manufacturing jobs, 1,000 each day. Remember the previous administration? We're never going to have manufacturing jobs anymore. By the way, they're among the best jobs we have in our whole country, and very important jobs. The magic wand, he just said. You need a magic wand to bring them back. Well, I guess we found the magic wand. We found the magic wand. I recently announced that we are replacing the horrible NAFTA deal with an incredible brand new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. The USMCA, like the song, YMCA, if you have any problem. If you have any problem, remember it. Just think YMCA. Is a giant win for Tennessee farmers and auto workers. And by the way, speaking of auto workers, we have so many plants, so many companies coming back into the United States. They're all coming back. They want the action. Plus, our new deal makes it extremely hard for companies to fire all their workers and leave. We're not having that anymore. And I talked about that during the campaign. Not going to happen. Where they fire our workers, they move to Mexico or another country, they build their cars, and then they sell them back here, no tax, no nothing. We end up with no jobs and empty factories. That's not happening anymore. That's not happening. We've taken the toughest ever action to crack down on China's abusive trade practices. We're doing very well, by the way. Every day it's promises made, promises kept. And there has been no president or no administration that's had a more successful first 2 years than we have, with all that we've done. We've taken bold action to reduce the price of prescription drugs. That's happening. You see it. Thanks to our aggressive measures to drive down the price of health insurance, this year premiums on the exchange in Tennessee are plummeting by an average of 26%. And we got rid of the individual mandate, which was a disaster. We took it out. We got rid of it. You think that was easy? Not easy. And we've introduced new affordable plans in this state that are as much as 60% cheaper, and more than that, than Obamacare, to help critically ill patients get life-saving treatments. We passed Right to Try. I'm very proud of that. Many, many years they tried to get it done. Many, many years. Right to Try. A patient's terminally ill, they travel all over the world trying to find a cure, if they have the money to do that. If they don't, they just don't have hope. They go home. We have the best medical facilities, doctors, research in the world. And if we're getting close, anything in the pipeline, if somebody's terminally ill, if somebody's very sick, they now will have the right to try the experimental drugs that we have. And we've had great success. We've had great success. There's been some incredible stories already. That was done 3 months ago. And last month, I proudly signed the largest bill to fight the opioid epidemic, which is a real big problem. Biggest bill, $6 billion in American history. We passed Veterans' Choice, giving our veterans the right to go see a private doctor instead of waiting in line for weeks and weeks and weeks. 44 years they've been trying to get it done. 44 years we got it done. And the landmark VA accountability law to ensure that anyone who mistreats our veterans will be immediately accountable. You're fired. Get out. And those people, right there, those congressmen helped me so much. That's true, fellas. Thank you. On every one of those, on every one of them, what I just said, every one of them, that group of congressmen, they are incredible. Thank you, fellas. Thank you. We secured $700 billion and $716 billion to fully rebuild the United States military, and we gave our great warriors their largest pay raise in more than a decade. And at my direction, the Pentagon is now working to create the sixth branch of the American Armed Forces. It's called the Space Force. I withdrew the United States from the horrible one-sided Iran nuclear catastrophe. And Iran is a much different country right now than it was before I took office. They were doing bad things, and they are doing bad things now, but they don't have the same perspective. They were looking for the Mediterranean. You know what the Mediterranean, that was a long ways away. They wanted to take over the whole Middle East. Right now, they just want to survive. And we've recognized the capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. Together, we've made extraordinary progress, and we are just getting started. We have a long way to go. That's why we have to get Senator Marsha Blackburn in office as soon as we can. By the way, we have another great senator here. He's from a slightly competitive state. It's called the great state of Georgia, where I just left. The legendary Senator David Perdue. Thank you, David. Great guy. Great guy. But if Lee Greenwood doesn't like him, I'm going to say, David, you got to get out of here. I'm sorry. But the Democrats want to turn back the clock, throw America in reverse, and return power to a corrupt, selfish ruling class that only looks out for themselves. You see it happening, but we stop it. Our opponents are stuck in the past while we are rebuilding and going into America's great future. I need you to vote for a Republican House and a Republican Senate so we can continue this incredible movement, the greatest political movement in the history of our country. It is. With your support, we will keep on cutting your taxes, reducing your regulations, growing your jobs, and raising your incomes. That's what we've been doing. We will protect Medicare, and we will protect your Social Security. We will defend your right of free speech, religious liberty, and we will continue to confirm judges who will interpret the Constitution as written. We will fully secure the border. We will pass Kate's Law. We will stop sanctuary cities, stop catch and release, and end the visa lottery, end chain migration, and we will keep the criminals, drug dealers, and terrorists the hell out of our country. We will lift millions of our citizens from welfare to work, dependence to independence, and poverty to prosperity. For years you watched as your leaders apologized for America. Now you have a president who is standing up for America. We are standing up for your values. We are standing up for Tennessee. And we are proudly standing up for our great national anthem. I am asking every citizen from every party, every background, and every race, color, and creed to reject the Democrat politics of anger and division and to unite behind our proud and righteous destiny as Americans. I need you to get your family, get your friends, get your neighbors, get your co-workers, and go out and vote Republican. Do it now. Do it Tuesday. We have to get it done. On Election Day, I need the people of Tennessee to send a message to crying Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, and the radical resistance by voting for Marsha Blackburn. Loyal citizens like you helped build this country, and together we are taking back our country, returning power to you, the American people. That's what's happening. This incredible state was tamed by tough frontier men and strong frontier women. This is the state of Davy Crockett and Andrew Jackson. Davy Crockett, Andrew Jackson. And this is the state of generations of proud Tennessee patriots who ventured out into the wilderness and up into the mountains to build a life and a home. They didn't have a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of luxury, but they all had one thing in common. They loved their families, they loved their country, and they loved their God. These courageous Americans did not shed their blood, sweat, and tears so that we could sit at home while others tried to erase their legacy, tear down our history, and destroy our proud American heritage. From the majestic valleys of Tennessee to the red rocks of Arizona, Martha McSally, Arizona, McSally, she's great. She's great. McSally, Arizona. From the big sky of Montana to the green fields of Missouri. From the deserts of Nevada to the Everglades of Florida. And from the coal mines of West Virginia to the steel mills of Indiana. We are going to work, we are going to fight, and we are going to win, win, win. We will not bend. We will not break. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never surrender, and we will always fight on to victory. Because we are Americans, and our hearts bleed red, white, and blue. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And Tennessee, together we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Tennessee. Thank you.
All right, folks. The second rally today, President Donald Trump in Chattanooga, Tennessee. As you guys can see, it was a massive crowd, folks. Both rallies were massive, massive crowds. There is no such thing as the blue wave. It's not even a blue puddle. You know, who knows what it is, but it's definitely not a blue wave. President Donald Trump in front of what seems to be around 15,000 people. Thousands couldn't get in. President Donald Trump in Tennessee. Thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. If you are new to this channel, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you get a heads up when we go live. If you'd like to get notified directly from us, text America First to 555-888. Again, it's America First to 555-888. I'm going to be putting it up on your screen. That way I make sure that I don't screw it up myself. So there it is. So you can text America First to 555-888 and you'll sign up to our list where we send you a text message when we go live for a rally or for any Trump speech. So if you guys want to get notified from us instead of YouTube, because I know YouTube is not sending notifications, folks. You click that bell, but YouTube says, you know what? We're not going to send anybody a notification. So we'll send it directly from me. I'll send it myself to you via text message. So text America First to 555-888 to get notification when we go live for a live stream. We will not spam you with a bunch of messages to your phone. We will not do any of those things. The only time you will ever get a message from us is if there is a live stream coming up. That's the only reason we would ever use this. So don't worry, we will not spam you. We will not do anything bad. This is just a way for us to go around YouTube because they do not want to send notifications for live streams or uploads and stuff like that. So that's an option if you like to use that. Also, if you like to help us out, get to the next rally, which there's 3 of them tomorrow, 3 rallies tomorrow. You could do so on PayPal at paypal.me/GST Live. You guys can see it on your screen. You can also click the link in the description below. Thank you very much for joining us. Subscribe if you are new. Text America First to 555-888 to join our list of us sending you notifications when President Trump is set to go live for his speech. Thank you so much. I hope to see you guys here tomorrow for 3 rallies. And I hope that you guys, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much to the moderators for keeping the chat clean and enjoyable for everyone. We hope to see you guys here tomorrow. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times, and I'll see you soon. Peace. I want to say thank you. Give me 1 second here to DD51854. Thank you so much for your support through Super Chat. Super Chat is also a very good way of helping Golden State Times get to the next rally. Thank you so much for your support. Again, if you'd like to contribute to Golden State Times, you can do so on PayPal at paypal.me/GST Live. The link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to get notified directly by me through text message, you can text America First to 555-888 and you'll join the list, and we'll send you text messages when there is a speech set to go live. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.